So finally, what I want to talk to you about is, we talked about consumption, we talked about investment. What is the relationship between spending and gross domestic product? So what we want to know is, if we increase consumption, or if we increase investment, how is that going to affect gross domestic product? So if I increase investment by $30 billion, what will be the impact on GDP? So let's say we have an increase in investment. Businesses go out and they spend $30 billion. Okay. And what this happens is that there's a change in our gross domestic product equal to $90 billion. How does that happen? Well, there's something we call a multiplier effect, which is basically looking at how initial spending will cause a chain reaction through the economy. If a business goes out and buys $30 billion worth of equipment, they're gonna buy that equipment from a business, another business that's selling it. That business needs that money to pay its employees. Those employees are then gonna take that money and spend it in the community. Not only that, the business that bought the equipment will be hiring people, and those people will get a paycheck, and then with that paycheck, they're gonna go out and buy stuff in the economy. And so, let's say the business hires Joe Smith. Joe Smith goes, he gets his paycheck. Well, what does he do? He cashes it, he pays his rent, he takes his family out to eat. Well, the person that got the rent took the rent check, and then they took that money and spent it. And so we have a multiplier effect. It's like a ripple effect throughout the economy. So how do we measure this? Well, we can see here that there's a $30 billion investment, and GDP was 90 billion. If we follow our formula, we would have the change in GDP, which is $90 billion, divided by spending of 30 billion. That's going to give us a multiplier of 3. Or conversely, we could say our multiplier of 3 times a change in spending of $30 billion gives us $90 billion worth of change in gross domestic product. Finally, let's go back to MPC and MPS. Okay. Because people have a tendency to spend a certain amount of their paycheck, which we discussed in the previous video, this gives us a method of calculating the multiplier. And so another way to find the multiplier is to take your 1 over 1 minus your marginal propensity to consume, or 1 over your marginal propensity to save, and that is going to tell you what your multiplier is. Okay. So if our multiplier is, let's say we have a marginal propensity to consume of 66%, okay, for MPC, people spend 66 cents out of every dollar, okay, then what does that mean? That means our multiplier is going to be equal to 0.3, is going to be equal to 1 over 0.33, which is also equal to our MPS, okay, and that's going to give us a multiplier of 3. So there are 2 ways to calculate this out. You will be using this later, so make sure you understand this.